Hello and welcome to a new video. Warcraft Reborn released a new video called Creature RPG Overhaul. Warcraft Reborn is Ascensions version of World of Warcraft Classic Plus, and they put so much love into it and so much work into it with immersive RPG gameplay elements. So I'm really looking forward to see what this Creature RPG Overhaul is all about. So let's dive in.
Warcraft Reborn is an upcoming project from Ascension Custom WoW that goes beyond Classic Plus. Here, you'll play as the original 9 classes enhanced with new content on Bronzebeard, a standalone realm separate from Ascension's classless or seasonal servers. A slower, more immersive adventure, Bronzebeard focuses on the world and your journey through it, creating an Azeroth worth exploring and dangers worthy of facing. One way it does this is through the RPG Creature Overhaul. When you step into an RPG, you choose a role that suits you, whether it's a powerful warrior, an agile rogue, or a mystical mage. When you choose that role, you expect it to impact your strengths and weaknesses out in the world. A warrior might cleave through foes, but have trouble with ranged or magical targets, whereas a rogue might have no problems assassinating a wizard or archer, but struggle against a highly armored target. These strengths and weaknesses are what make your decisions matter, but for them to mean something, you need to encounter a vast world filled with thousands of different creatures to challenge. Luckily, on Warcraft Reborn, you will. On Warcraft Reborn, all 2,390 unique creatures throughout Azeroth's open world, dungeons, and raids have been completely redesigned with unique stat profiles and creature classes that
Wow, that's insane. So they adjusted every mob to the stats you would expect from it. Like an armored enemy has more armor, more stamina, for example, maybe strength based, while a caster more intellect and less armor. That's insane work.
influence their combat behavior. This comes complete with unique health, damage, armor, attack speeds, dodge chance, block chance, spell damage, attack power, and more for every single creature in the game. And you can tell what a creature's strengths and weaknesses are just
Wow, look at this. This is insane. So you have a really immersive gameplay with this because you can absolutely expect what your enemy will be about and if you're strong against him or not. If you need to group up against an elite or something like this, that's really, really insane. Together with the immersive item drops, which I show in this video here, this is really, really cool.
by looking at them. What a monster looks like will tell you a lot about how dangerous it is and how you should approach it. This goes for their stats and their behaviors, like how fast they attack and how much damage they deal. For example, if you see an enemy carrying a shield or wearing heavy plate, expect a higher armor value and the ability for them to block your attacks. You'll have a harder time hurting them head on and an easier time using bleeds, spells, or armor penetration to take them down. In contrast, an enemy wearing light clothing with no shield likely has less armor, making it easier to damage them physically. But it might hit faster and maybe even deal more damage. This means that when you fight a heavily armored ogre, it'll feel different than ambushing a nimble jungle cat or dueling a spell-slinging warlock. On Bronzebeard, creatures aren't homogenized. Everything is different, and it'll feel different to fight. This extends not just to the armor that creatures are wearing, but also to the weapons they use. A bandit with a dagger will attack fast and have a higher chance to crit. Meanwhile, an enemy wielding a big giant weapon will attack slower but deal more damage with each hit.
Yeah, so much role-playing elements in this. This is insane. Really, really great. I love this.
This doesn't increase the DPS of the creature. What it does is change the way the damage is dealt so that how you fight it matters more. For example, that fast-attacking bandit enemy might not mean much if you're playing a warrior, whose armor and blood craze talent actually benefit from the fast but weak attacks and critical strikes. But that same bandit might be devastating to a mage player, because the fast attacks mean constant spell pushback, making it harder for you to cast your spells.
I mean, this is something which is always in the game, right? You know that those enemies with 2 weapons hit faster, they are rogues and something like this. But they took this gameplay element and just made it better. They really thought this through. So, wow, insane how much love they put into this game.
From a different perspective, a block tank will be more effective at mitigating damage from fast attacking foes, since shield block reduces a flat amount of damage per hit. Meanwhile, a bear tank might be better suited for taking slower, harder hits because of their savage defense. This creates a dynamic, breathing world of danger where your choices in combat matter, and where different classes have unique strengths in different situations. It's not just about who deals the most damage or who has the most armor. It's about who has the tools to best overcome the unique obstacle in front of you, allowing.
And how will this affect raiding? Because if they also put those gameplay elements into raids, you need special tanks, for example, for encounters. So should you be able to swap your specs or something like this to complete raids, or will they be doable with all kind of classes? That's some big questions here, because you can't force people to have every class every time. I mean, it would be cool, but it's simply not doable for a raid roster, right? Really interested how they want to do this in raids.
Different classes to shine in different moments. This results in a diverse meta that changes on every encounter and every pull. The rogue in your party might have a distinct advantage against the lightly armored white mage, but you might be dealing extra damage to Mograine as your spells aren't hindered by his heavy armor. But that's just the surface. Even in this scenario, you can make decisions to maximize your potential and take advantage of deeper gameplay. As a rogue, you might switch from using Eviscerate on Whitemane to using Rupture on Mograine, since.
Okay, so every class is able to do every content, but you need to use your abilities more often, which you normally wouldn't use, right? So that's also interesting, and it forces you to think about your rotation more. You can't just do a cookie catapult, you need to adjust it.
Bleeds pierce his heavy armor, or you might just use expose armor and backstab away, dealing more damage than you would if you approached him with the same strategy as you did with Whitemane. This results in deeper gameplay and a more complex and immersive world where your choices matter, doubling down on what makes an RPG great. A creature's strengths and weaknesses are brought about by a combination of two mechanics: a creature's creature class, and the gear that creature is actually wearing. The creature class determines an enemy's base stats. Warrior-type creatures are the default baseline creature class. They deal average damage and have average defense, with both modified by the equipment they're wearing. Rogue-type creatures have a higher critical strike chance, slightly faster attack speed, but lower armor, making them fragile if you can withstand their burst. Hunter-type creatures have high ranged attack power, making them dangerous from afar. But they also have lower armor than usual, meaning you can get in close to take them down. Caster-type creatures cast spells and deal high spell damage, but generally have the lowest armor, making them weak at close range. Finally, hybrid-type creatures have a combination of caster and warrior-type stats, and will use a combination of sword and spell. Second, the actual physical equipment that the creature is wearing modifies their stats from the base and gives new stats. For example, a warrior-type creature wearing cloth armor will have less armor than a warrior default, but will deal more damage in exchange. A rogue-type creature wielding a dagger will gain increased attack speed and critical strike, but will deal less damage than the rogue baseline. Whereas a rogue creature wielding a sword won't attack as fast, but will have a higher attack power and increased damage. A hunter creature with a gun will have slower, more powerful shots than a hunter with a bow, and might have attack power or strength gear. But the bow hunter will shoot faster and might drop agility gear. And yes, before.
Wow, really impressed how they introduced formulas based on their weapons and their armors here. Really cool. So much love goes into this from Ascension. I'm hard impressed by this.
You ask, Wolves, murlocs, kobolds, zombies, and literal tornadoes all have creature classes. They're just hand-tailored to how the creature looks instead of what they're wearing, since, wolves don't have swords. Additionally, monsters that you'd expect to have resistances to certain spell schools have those now. A fire elemental will take reduced damage from fire spells, which is what you'd expect. However, these creatures now also have vulnerabilities. Use a frost spell on that fire elemental, and it will take increased damage, giving you a way to switch up your playstyle to be more effective. This extends to all sorts of different places. Hit a Void Walker with a holy spell to deal more damage to it, or strike a water elemental with a lightning bolt to be super effective. Spellcaster creatures are typically vulnerable to the spell school opposite of what they're using.
Wow, that's also cool. So you have to look up what they're using and you have to think what will be effective against it. Really cool.
So hit cultists with holy spells, fire mages with frost spells, and frost mages with fire. And don't worry, if you really want to fireball that fire elemental, pick up spell penetration to do it. With enough spell pen, you can completely bypass an enemy's resistances to deal full damage, giving you the option to play any way you want. In a nutshell, what you see on the monster visually now directly translates to gameplay. This recaptures the magic of an RPG. Every encounter you face is a bit different, and that means meaningful differences between classes and characters, making your choices matter. The ability to make different decisions between encounters to maximize your potential adds real depth and dimension to gameplay, and the result is a diverse, shifting meta that changes on every encounter and every pull. All of it comes together in a dynamic, varied, and exciting Azeroth for you to challenge. Stay tuned for more Bronzebeard features videos coming soon.
Yeah, I'm really impressed by this. Project Ascension is doing such a great version of Classic Plus and so much work is put into this. Insane. Thank you very much for watching. If you found this useful, consider to like and subscribe for more World of Warcraft, Project Ascension, Warcraft Reborn content. Special thanks goes out to my channel members who support me with their hard-earned real-life money, especially Nerdman for being a high-tier supporter.